Thank you for joining us for another session with the Sound Health Portal. I'm Sherry Edwards, your host. Anita Vanderhage is online with us. She is our co-trainer here, so if you have questions, she is the first one up in the participants list, and you can chat her personally or as a whole. A lot of old hats on here. A lot of new people. That's wonderful. We also have a chat going, so if you have questions, that usually is the lower left-hand side, and it'll say chat, but they have changed things around so much. Anita, where is chat for people who want to speak up?
If you go to the bottom of the page, there's a round circle with a bubble in it that looks like a voice bubble. That's where the chat is, if you just click on that.
Okay. We're going to be talking this evening about restless legs and asking for volunteers. Don't volunteer unless you have restless legs or something associated with that. I will try to answer. Okay, Shirley says she has restless legs, so you're going to be our number one. So just hang in there while we do an introduction. We try to hold these sessions every other Thursday for people who want to do bioacoustic biology and bioacoustic work. We're sponsored by the soundhealthportal.com. And one of the things that we want to share with you is vocal profiling in action. We stick a microphone in your face. We've been doing this for a lot of years. And we try to use the frequencies of your voice to find out what's going on. In all the years that we've been doing this, and since our first papers were published in the 70s, we found out that people with similar traumas, illnesses, syndromes, anything, have similar, if not identical, vocal anomalies. So if we find somebody that has skin issues, we go back and look at all the skin issue database client files that we have, and we see what is going on with this. We announced this tenet in 2004, and since then a lot of people have jumped on the bandwagon. We did all the foundational work. Now you've got Mayo Clinic and MIT and a lot of other places being accessing this because they see this as the medicine of the future. I'm Sherry Edwards. This is our building. We occupy an old school. We don't have the bottom floor except a couple of rooms because that's where the gym and the bathrooms are. But the rest of it is 9,000 square feet. That's us. We love this old squeaky building. We have used math to look at your voice, just like you can use notes to look at a song. So we look at the sour notes, and we see this as an image. A perfectly put together Rubik's Cube is perfect health, and we can look at all sides of this simultaneously with the numbers and the protocols that we've developed, no matter what your size or shape or what's going on. We have found out that we are on our way to breaking the sound barriers of disease. Doesn't that sound wonderful? Because we found out that whoever controls health actually controls the ideas of what I'm going to share with you this evening. If you control that, you control your own quality of life. And we want that to be you, because there are companies that are quickly trying to take this over. Look at this. Vocal biomarkers market 2018 expected to reach 2.5 billion by 2023. And we want to put all of this in your hands. we are going to be talking about conventional pathways of medicine and what's happening with what they found in research. And we have a biomarker course that talks about that. We're going to show you that this evening. And then there's a numeric math ways. We can see so much more with a math way, things that was only discovered or revealed in conventional medicine in the last few years. One example of that is if you're on your way to a stroke, you can't turn over both sides of your tongue. Like stick your tongue out and put the bottom side of it up, turn it over, and you do it both directions. They said that's a sign of a stroke, but they didn't know why. Well, the frequency of the vertical muscle of the tongue that allows you to turn it over is the same frequency as a vasopressin, which controls high blood sugar and high blood pressure. So when that goes into stress, the sugar going high causes the blood pressure or vasopressin to do one thing, and the high blood pressure causes the vasopressin to do another, because there's the relationship right there between diabetes and stroke, or one of them, and people just have not put that together. But since we put all of this in numeric form, we look at the numbers and follow the protocol for numbers. Can you say that again? Danya asked that. Say that again. About the vertical muscle of the tongue. When you are checking for a stroke, you check, can you smile on both sides of your face, different things. One of the things they've asked you to check on the last couple of years is, can you turn your tongue over? The vertical muscle of the tongue, and Danya's probably asking because she's a practitioner, if you can't control the frequencies that your brain puts out to turn your tongue over, that means those frequencies from your brain are in stress. And the frequency for the tongue is the same frequency as a vasopressin that is incredibly involved in high blood pressure and high blood sugar. So if you can't do that, the numbers aren't right for you to be able to control blood pressure or blood sugar. And so that's the redundant part of the body. And we have all kinds of maps that we've created about what nutrient and what frequency goes with what finger. You can't use a finger, can't use a thumb very well. Your zinc is in stress. So we've mapped the body with all of this math. And that's what we're going to share with you, because we have more breaking news this evening about why and how restless legs, having restless legs, can save your life. We're going to look at math as a predictive and a preventive form of health care. And we have 200 or 300 different templates and bundles that we want to share with you. So tonight we've picked the subject restless legs, really by request, because nobody has ever suggested that restless legs can be an indicator that you need to do something to save your own life. Now, there are some people who take a very esoteric bent and say, okay, restless legs, whatever you're doing here, I love you. If you're making cramps, I love the cramp. And so you're spiritually talking to your own body to make it well and to love it. But it's really telling you something. And that's what we're going to share this evening. And I hope it helps save lives. There is a textbook, BioAcoustic Basics. Now, if you go to our site, Sound Health Options, would somebody please put that in the chat? soundhealthoptions.com. You can download this from our cart, or if you sign up for class, they will send this to you. We also have a group of, I was trying to catch that link to put it in the chat. There's a group of tutorials that will help you move through what we're going to show tonight. The textbook and the tutorials, you should be able to do this on your own, but if you want to join us for a class, we have 2-day classes every month. The beginning ones are free. They give you 2 softwares to use, usually nutrition and muscles, because it's so easy to use. You can join us there. You can read the book. You can join us on the tutorials. We're trying to make this easy for everyone to create a bioacoustic center in their own community. So let's start with restless legs syndrome. It's a sense of indescribable unease, twitching. I've heard it described as somebody shocking you with a cattle prod. Restlessness in the legs occurs with periods of inactivity. It can be temporarily relieved by walking or kicking, standing up, just moving your legs. And they think that this occurs, they don't really know, they think that it occurs as a result of impaired blood circulation. We've done enough restless leg syndrome clients that we can identify this, and Shirley is going to be our guinea pig this evening, and we'll show you how this works. What causes restless legs? Nutritional deficiencies, and so that's one of the databases that they give you when you take this free class. Minerals. Magnesium is the number one. Iron, low iron, and low selenium. Low all of that, or it's just not working. Selenium because it supports the vascular system. And iron and magnesium, we don't know why, it just is. I think it's because those two support the circulation, all those little gates inside the circulatory system. Vitamins, folic acid, and vitamins C, D, and E, especially D. Amino acids, tryptophan, and we'll look at why tryptophan here in a minute. Hormones, melatonin, serotonin levels, and GABA exchange, gamma butyric acid. That's what excites and keeps the information moving. A big one is ribose and dopamine deficits. I want to go to the map here. When we look at tryptophan, it directly leads to the dopamine, and GABA is here on this map. This map is available to you for free on the portal. You can download it and look at the whole pathway here of how dopamine becomes involved. I'll explain more of that in a minute. So, nutritional deficiencies, the one we just talked about, is a biggie. And you can actually stop these sessions, get up in the middle of the night, and I'm not allowed to say this, I'll just tell you what I do. I have magnesium in crystals that has a lot of vitamin C in it. I just go put a spoonful in my hand and lick it. That'll usually stop the restless leg syndrome within 10 minutes or so. Vascular inefficiency. Allergies, especially wheat. If you eat wheat or grains right before you go to bed, it swells up the nerve sheathing and causes the nerve to want to fix itself, and so it gives off these erratic firings and causes the sensations of being shocked. Sensory motor failure. There's some biochemicals. Titan's one of them. I'm writing myself a note because I should add that complex to the bundle for restless leg syndrome. And I'll show you what the bundle is. Lack of iron, especially something called ferrochelatase. And it's one of the last steps the body takes in preparing iron for use. This is especially important for people with Parkinson's. It's one of the common things that happens in Parkinson's, that your iron doesn't get made into a usable form. And lack of exercise. So if you want to do a stationary bike or something like that before you go to sleep, sometimes that helps encourage circulation. But certainly we can look at these when we look at Shirley's file. What is this related to? Well, I just said Parkinson's, and I didn't even put it on here. End-stage kidney failure, especially if you have trouble keeping warm or cold. Nerve damage, that's where Parkinson's stuff comes in. Neuropathy, diabetes, big one, because the insulin helps destroy the nerve sheathing. Iron deficiency, electronic sensitivity, having a phone or clock or electric blanket, something like that near your bed where it's putting out electrical signal also. Mold exposure and allergies. Medication. Now, the problem with these medications is they help temporarily, then they lose their effect, and the problem gets worse. You can take a Miraplex, and within 20 minutes or so, it'll probably slow down, but it is masking the issue. This is the map that you want to look at. Methylation mapping is one of the very first things that you should ask your practitioner to check, because all of these circles here are the metabolism of your body, the Krebs cycle, cellular energy, and without that being open and freed up, you're not going to get the right signals. Like Parkinson's, you won't get the right signals from the brain. So here, you're not getting the right signals from the cells. This is detox. And one of the things you need to know here is about nitric oxide. It works as a wall between the muscle and the capillaries to drag off the trash out of the body. And without the nitric oxide, that trash doesn't get taken out. The trash accumulates, and then you have this erratic nerve firing. All these advertisements you see about beets, that's where you get your nitric oxide. This is how you deal with energy, how it's dispersed in the body. And a lot of times that tryptophan and dopamine really disturbs norepinephrine, which is another energy pathway. Sometimes it's the COMT. Now this is the YASCO, Y-A-S-K-O, methylation pathway, and there's a whole book that goes with this. Amy just gave us permission to use the map. This one that starts with dump at the top and THF, that's how your body repletes your DNA. That's where you're going to get your telomeres and all the information about regeneration. The last two sections are how your body uses its incoming resources. Starts with methionine on the top. Sometimes this dimethyl and trimethylglycine gets out of kink, and then your muscles will get stiff, your joints will get stiff, you're not detoxifying, you don't get enough exercise. Sometimes sulfur comes in here. SUOX, I've seen a lot of people with that have restless legs. This is an inborn problem with sulfur, that their body's not using it. So that map is pretty important. Other medications that sometimes take care of this, gabapentin, which they give you for, Anita, what is it?
Gabapentin for pain, fibromyalgia pain, or any kind of pain that you don't want to take, like Tylenol for.
Yeah, but they give it to you when you, like your kids got a measles shot and you get something from that. I should have written that down. I know this word totally. Can you look it up on the internet and see why they give it? It's a nerve inflammation.
I'll look it up.
And causes big welts on your body. And it's usually you get it from somebody younger in the family who's got a vaccine, and it's old people's form. It's not measles. Good grief. Benzodiazepines, that's when it's anxiety. Opioid, that just knocks you out. Compression stockings and vibration shingles. Yes. Why couldn't I think of the name of shingles? So gabapentin was really for shingles, but also anti-seizure. I would like to warn you to listen to the very end of this, because compression might kill you. Sleeping pills might kill you if you have restless legs. So bioacoustically, if you're going to be looking at someone's restless legs, and that's what we're going to do with Shirley, these are the templates that you're going to work with. Inflammation, because it's usually inflammation of the vascular system. Restless leg syndrome, vascular circulation, varicose veins, nutrient provider, mapping your methylation. Neuropathy, because the nerve sheathing tearing away or being eaten away can cause this. Sleep is really important to recuperate. A lot of times the spine's involved, the signals aren't getting to your legs, so you have to sleep on your stomach or in a certain way. Before I found a cure here, I was standing up and putting my head on the wall and sleeping, because it was so severe in my case. And from my perspective, it was from a fall from a second-story balcony, and I crushed some vertebrae in my back that feed the legs. So mine was coming from the spine, and until I fixed my spine, I didn't get any relief. Hypoxia, lack of oxygen can cause this. And most of all, it is warning you that there's an issue with your heart. So heart tracker is an important one to be looking at. So we've put in the bundle the heart tracker, whether it's an emotional heart tracker, the actual signal, the valves, whatever is going on. So if you're having restless legs, you're probably losing sleep. You probably take a sleeping pill or whatever, and it's a problem. Sleep. So we put that also in the bundle to see what could come out of it. And here's the real issue. When there is a lack of physical movement, when you're asleep, there's a lack of circulation, causing a lack of vascular activity, which may cause blood clots. That electrical stimulation or feelings of your legs want to move, that's telling you get up and move, because I'm trying to make a problem here with your circulation. I'm going to move this up because you guys can't see all of it. So without that signal from your brain that says, wake up, we're not getting any circulation, we're going to cause a blood clot. Restless legs is your wake-up call that your circulation is in stress, or that your vascular system is in stress. And restless legs is this very smart signal from your body that says, we're in trouble here, wake up and move. Have any of you ever heard that? Restless leg is your friend, just like fat is your friend. It protects you from the poisons. With bioacoustics, we can find out the root cause and put your Rubik's Cube back together in perfect order. Paying attention in this way to your restless leg syndrome could extend your warranty on all of your vascular system and could extend your life. We have some references that I will go ahead and put in the chat. Mike says, interesting stuff. We're going to go to the soundhealthportal.com and we're going to invite Shirley. Let's test your microphone because you said you have restless legs. Shirley, you're on here twice. I think it's...
Are you hearing?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, good. I accidentally quit once. Sorry about that.
Okay, well, I kept the one that had the microphone.
Oh, good.
So all of these instructions are on the portal. They're also in that booklet. We also have them in videos. I can't get my... That's weird. I cannot get my... There it is, and I don't know how I got it open. We're going to start with Audacity. Audacity is a free download that you can get from a link from our site, or you can go to Sound Health Portal and leave a voice print there if you're hooked up with a practitioner. So the very first thing we want to do, and all the instructions are online. I'm going to move the microphone over, and I'm going to ask Shirley to give us 30 seconds of speech about her restless legs. I'm going to click on red, and here's the timer. And when we get to 30 seconds or so, we'll hit, this will be a yellow square, and that's enough data. When we first started this, we would do like hours. Now we find out that we can do this with 30 seconds. So Shirley, you ready?
I'm ready.
Go.
I've had restless leg for most of my life. It started in my early 30s, and I had to start taking medications because I could not get any sleep. I would just walk and walk and walk. That was the only thing I could do, was to keep moving. It has gotten to the point where I had to keep upping my dose of Requip. It wasn't sufficient. Every 6 hours, I need another Requip.
Okay, I was going to let it go because you have some dead spots in here. If we want to clean this up, simply roll over it and hit the scissors. I've lost my scissors. There they are. And we can really use 25 to 30 seconds. But if a cat meows, door slams, something like that, you'd want to take it out. But this is a really good print. So we're not going to save it. We're going to export it. And all of this is step by step with pictures, even how to set all of this up. So you don't want to just open, wish I could spell SHIRLEY, line, and we're going to call it restless leg syndrome. And you've had it for, what, 20 years or so?
More like 30. I'm 70 now, and it started when I was in my 30s.
Wow, this is a great opportunity for us. So we've got a vocal file. the next thing we want to do is go to your subscription on the portal. Sound Health Portal, start with a guest subscription. It's 30 days free. They give you some softwares to work with so you can just sort of get up to speed. So this is a Sound Health Portal where you would go to set up support. Here's under support the tutorials that you would use. And then there's subscriptions here. And it's just a play, for 30 days. So this is my subscription. And I'm going to put in Shirley G. And your birthday?
1/26/49.
And what state are you in?
I'm in South Carolina.
We ask for this information so that next time we want to look up a group of people that have restless legs, we can just jump in here and do it. And look it all up. We're not going to put your email here. I don't think it has restless legs, but circulation, this is where it helps us. If we get stuck, the computer will give us a few clues about what's going on. So,
I have a form of arthritis. It's called ankylosing spondylitis.
yes.
Something listed.
Yeah, we do have that in our arthritis program. But we could add lots of things. But just to start, we're going to look at circulation. We might look at iron next. But looking at one thing at a time will probably give us more information. So we simply say save and continue. That's pretty easy, right? Oh, I'm trying to put my own in. Okay. So we can, should be I.
Yes.
I'm used to putting my own name in there. Okay. Save and continue. Now we're going to bring in that vocal file. This is overlapping because I don't have a big enough screen here. There you are. I've trained my computer to put it in a waves file each time. So there you are. Now we have a choice here. We can go look at the templates and see what's going on with you, or we can go look at your 8 systems. These are set up by the functional medicine people, and it'll give us 8 circles, and it'll tell us what's going on with you. I'm going to go to the bottom and look at summary. And
Sherry, the drug that she's on, the Requip, is the same energy frequency as vitamin B12, etiocobalamin.
wow, okay. Significant biomarkers. It's looking at dyslexia. Now this is brain signaling, whether the electricity is going to the right spot. Tics excitations, that deals with GABA and choline. Sarcopenia, that's aging. Hearing loss. Spasticity and dystonia certainly has to do with glycine. But we're down about 7%. You probably don't need to go any lower. But these are the 2, dyslexia, tics, sarcopenia, hearing. Do you have a hearing problem?
I've been on antibiotics because of a lung infection that I have, and it's caused ringing in my ears, and I had to come off of that antibiotic. So yes, I have a hearing problem now.
Okay, well, one of the things that we can do here is print this. And it goes down to the bottom. You really can't see it here on this. Let's see if I can, wow. Well, I have totally lost. Now you see all the information behind all this. I totally don't know where it went. Did anybody see it go by?
and it just appeared in the right-hand portion of your screen, and then went away again. It's like it's moved to what would be my right viewing the screen.
Okay. It just went away again. Okay, I went ahead and I'll save that and send it to you afterwards.
Thank you.
Okay, one of the things that we want to do is go to our WAV file. But I need to fix something first because we go to the WAV. I'll stop in a minute and fix this other thing. It's uploading that Audacity. I just don't have enough room here. It still says it's loading. It's supposed to take 12 seconds. It takes much more than that. Go up here and reload or refresh. But I'll give it a couple more seconds here. The current web session has expired. Okay. We'll go back. Okay, so we're going to pull points as current. You can pull points in many different ways. If we could get this loaded, this doesn't make sense that it would open one spot and not another. That it won't open that WAV file. Now it says not secure, so I don't know what is happening here. I will try to reload. So this is our file, and we can ask for a new evaluation from that file. This will load, hopefully. Oh, good grief. It's not loading the WAV. There it comes. All right. The blue is normal, kind of. You have a dip right here that we need to take care of. There's several things that are low. How low? -1, -2, -3. So these two are the most low. So we need to make sure we get those. And we have a +1, +2, +3. And there's over 500 Vimeos on how to do this. But I'm just going to go up here and say current, pull the points. And it'll give us a little red dot where the computer thinks is the worst of the worst. Now, if we go up here and choose a template, what template? Let's choose Restless Legs. And these are all of the templates that the computer looked at for her. Maintenance, repairs, Superbrain, PTSD. There's a couple hundred of them. So let's look for Restless Legs. There's only 4 hits, 11%. Not much to look at, but we're going to go look at it anyway. Okay. And now it's going to give us, when we save here, I'm going to move it over here a second. Save and close. There, it's giving us the... I'm working on changing some columns around because I forgot to do this before we started, and I'm not allowed to share frequencies on the air. So I'm changing the setup. You can all change the setup of how this comes out. What it tells us, relevance. What is the highest relevance will be yellow, then blue, then green, then pink. So I want to look at the highest relevance, highest high. Used to relieve neuropathic pain. Are you on gabapentin? Have you ever been?
I am now on it. I had surgery 6 months ago.
Okay, you're overdosed. That's what this says. Your
You're weaning off of it.
That sounds like a good idea, although I'm not allowed to say it. Magnesium is an issue. The use of magnesium. Paracopa medication, never heard of it. Combination carbidopa. So you've got a dopamine issue here. There it is.
Yes, I probably do, but I never heard of Paracopa.
Let's look. I love all this reference stuff. Known as levocarb. You know, what this tells me is that I should go back and choose some other templates. So let's keep Restless Legs. That gave us some. We can choose, I think, at, I don't know what level, you can choose up to 10. Restless? Hello? Who's talking?
I know, but this is my...
Wait a minute, somebody's got their mic open. Okay, thank you for closing it. So Restless Legs, dopamine. What else of all those that we chose? She's had it for a long time. What did it tell? It told us dyslexia, D-Y-S-L.
I am dyslexic. I have a hard time reading.
Okay, that was one, and it said, I can't even read my own writing.
PTSD, post-traumatic stress.
We can do that.
I had a very traumatic childhood.
Okay, nerves. What else did we say on that PowerPoint that we should be looking at? Circulation.
Yes.
We could look at vascular. We could look at nutrition. Could we do iron, magnesium, selenium, vitamin A, C, D? Okay, now this will pick out all of those templates. You don't have to put everything in. Ignore NSYNC, it's about diet and it's a bundle. So PTSD, spasticity and dystonia, nutrition, circulation, nerve, vascular, neuroplasticity, that's more for brain, dyslexia, lymph, tics, restless legs. What this will do is take all of these. There's only one in dopamine. Let's see what you have the most of. PTSD, ultimate diet, that's about hormones. Blood works, first strike stroke, 39. I'm going to pick that one, heart tracker. We didn't.
I like the heart tracker, Sherry. Could you talk a little bit more about how the heart is related to that?
Related to which?
To the restless legs.
Oh, if there's a vascular issue, the heart is the one that's pumping, and all those little gates in the circulatory system are manned by magnesium. So if magnesium's low, the gates won't open and close as much as they should, and that includes the heart valves. So the heart is what's pushing and pumping and giving.
That really fits then, because she had the magnesium malate low.
Yes, and that's the one they recommend for restless legs. Taking a couple of those at night before you go to bed is a real good idea. So we have all of these hit. Push OK. Wow. All of these yellows are priorities. Wow. So let's organize these by and go look at the yellow on the templates. Circulation issues, potassium is low. Potassium and calcium, sodium all work together to support the heartbeat and heart pressure, the pressure in the system. Now she has it down twice, likely from two different places, two different octaves. Leukotriene C4 produced in response to inflammation. So we should have added inflammation to this. And the inflammation can be caused by the foods you eat, like meat, milk, wheat, sugar. So we should look at that. Inflammation in the circulatory system can be anything from Lyme to Streptococcus. So we need to also go back and look at any kind of immune or pathogen involvement. A potent vasoconstrictor, which would cause the high blood pressure. Okay, so that takes care of circulation. So we know there's inflammation there, and we know there is some minerals. Pantotene, low. Let's go back to the map. With this, coenzyme A is really instrumental in helping the body use the Krebs cycle, that and NAD, nicotinic adenosine diphosphate, which is the it's the instigator here. So pantotene is needed right here, along with B5. That's an important piece to know. Amy Yasko has more information on that. So that pantotene is low, you need to bring it in. Renin, that's a kidney thing, I think. Although it's pink, it's one of the lesser issues. But the potassium, the yellow, is the most important in the circulation. Then we go to... Shirley, you want to turn your mic off?
I can do that now.
Okay. When you want to talk, just turn it back on. So dopamine and beta hydroxylase, that's low. You can't go by that. We would have to do it with sound, and we've proven that we can turn on and off these proteins with sounds. That's an enzyme. Still, we can do it. Dyslexia susceptibility regulates the gene implicated in neuronal migration dyslexia. It is low. We probably need to balance it out. So that takes care of dopamine and dyslexia. So next yellow section, stroke, and there's more in stroke than anything else. Aflatoxins are low. We don't care. That's like mold from peanuts, so just leave it low. CBS, methionine sulfoxide. Did I bring that map? So we know that you're not using your sulfur correctly. So the sulfur is down here, and here's the CBS. So we would know to go look at this section, which also includes vitamin D, so that's something to watch for. CBS, low. Immune response, that's in there 4 or 5 times. Platelet-derived growth factor, low. Arachidid. Oh, vegetable and fish oil, low. So you need fatty acids. IgA, that's a response usually to vaccines. It's low. We don't care. Lipase, we don't want that low. That helps digest fats. Biliary,
The lipase is the same frequency equivalent as the gabapentin.
Ah, so
And the gabapentin was high, but the lipase is low, so perhaps the gabapentin is taking the place of the lipase.
messing it up and causing her problems with fat digestion.
It's also the same frequency.
Thank you, Anita. That's good to know. For those of you who haven't taken our courses, ignore that, or jump onto one of the courses and learn what she means. Germanium low. You don't want germanium low. It helps with the integrity of your circulatory system, capillaries, veins, and so forth. So let's jump down to the next yellow. Ignore that yellow over on that one. Only on the relevance are you going to look. Heart tracker looks like the same things. Almost the exact same things. Need to get that potassium up and working. Okay, so stroke, heart tracker. Oh, good grief, there's 4 pages of this. But looking at the relevance, wherever there's yellow relevance, this is nutrition. Calcium fluoride, that helps the body have flexure in the connective tissue. There's the lipase. Can you see how it begins to overlap now in different templates? Well, look at that potassium. So we would send this to her in a file, easy to make, 3rd one down, just hit it. This will probably be a lot of pages. It's usually 5 to 7 pages. You know, that's okay. We get up past 20, and we're looking at some things that we need to take care of right away. You can send this to your client. You can print it. So the first thing you would do is give that list of those circles, and you can send 25 pages. We need to cut some things down because that's just too much to deal with. It also takes a long time, and people are swamped if they get 25 pages. Remember that it comes out in the order of significance. So this is everything that we ran on Shirley. This will start rolling this out by what's important. Everything important comes first. This is supposed to be giving us the 2nd page. This comes out as a PDF, so it's not quite as hard to read. I'm sorry I'm taking up the time. Looks like the aflatoxins, but they're low, so ignore them. Arachnic acid, that's low, so you might want to consider some fatty acids. Benzene, a toxin, low, who cares? Calcium fluoride, you can buy those at your health food store. I don't know where they come from. There's the CBS, it's epigenetic, means it's coming, so we probably need to balance that up. And then starts the dopamine. So this is something that would go after the protein. The lack of dopamine in that whole flow chart is probably where we want to go. So as we're looking at that Krebs cycle flow chart, we would want to go back and just run the Krebs cycle for her, because she's having trouble here with dopamine, which will interfere with the brain and anxiety, will interfere with sleep, will interfere with glucose eventually, thyroid. So these are things we want to concentrate on in her case. I want to show one other thing. We're running out of time. But when we look at the bioacoustic bundles, and they aren't, I lose this every time. There it goes. Use the voice file and look at biomarkers. And it told us to look at heart and stroke. So let's see what's here with heart. Bioacoustic heart. What's going on with that? And it gives us a bundle. It says vascular 4.3, hypertension 3.3, meds 8.5. Now when you see high meds like this, a lot of medications are the same frequency as B vitamins, so we'd go back and check with that. And first sight, stroke 4.1. We can look at vascular, 8 out of 187, 19 out of 462. Let's look at vascular. This is the new class that we're putting together. Vascular. And it says the problem, proteins 3, it says the proteins are the problem. It has a higher score. This is drilling down and giving you access to very deep and very wide databases and protocols. So if we're hitting this, we can look at elastin, low, off the chart. See if you can find some collagen. There is nutrient, Amazon. It's nails and hair, has a lot of elastin and collagen in it. That's your lowest low. You will continue to not have good flexure in your circulatory system if this stays low. Your skin will get saggy, you'll lose muscle tone. Angiopoietin, absolutely, that's sort of middle of the road. Middle here is lowest, the outside ring. And what is this? You can drill down. Now it's not going to tell us, but you can grab this and put it up here and look at it. Drill down. We're going to go a little over, people. So you can go to, this is about the heart. So you can see here what we're missing. What's really the cause of what's happening here. We can drill down further. Let's drill down all the protein toxin. Let's drill down and look at the genes. Oh, good grief. So it's going to be this 8.8. Borrelia. This says there's some Borrelia inflammation at the base, at the root cause of what's going on here. Can you see that? 8.8. So we should go back and check you for Borrelia. We don't have time to do that, but that's the thing that should be going on here. We collect the vocal profile. We go look at all the 8 systems of what's going on. We let the computer look through this 300,000 issue database. It breaks it all down and tells us what's really going on. Find a practitioner, Shirley, next to you. Have them run you through Borrelia, South Carolina. I think we only have one person there. And then you can write a report that you can take to your doctor, and you can show them the evidence and say, there's inflammation, we need to look at Borrelia. Now, can you think of a time? Oh, Carol's in North Carolina? Can you travel one state over, Shirley? One of our teachers is in North Carolina. Does anybody remember what I was just saying before I said Carol's in North Carolina?
You were talking about the Borrelia.
A lot of times it will cause inflammation, and it will choose, I remember the question, it'll choose your weakest spot. Do you remember before this Restless Legs, maybe 2 years or so, did you have an issue with a tick bite?
Actually, I'm not sure that I was ever bitten by a tick.
Okay, well, we don't know where you would have gotten Borrelia then, but we will certainly try to trace it down. We'll give you Carol Cooper's contact information. You guys can work together. I'll send her all this stuff as well as you. We want to teach everybody what we're doing here, and this is called the biomarker signatures. And you can see the depth of where we can go with this and look at even predictive information in medicine. I think, yes, I think it would be autoimmune related, and Carol will find that out. We want everybody to have this opportunity because we see some serious shortages, and them keeping them, meaning the government, saying there's shortages in medication, especially with what's going on with China, where all these tariffs, and that's where a lot of our medication comes from, about 60%. We don't want people to ever have to do without medication or information about their bodies. This is a right that you get to control your own health. Think about the idea that anybody who's trying to curtail or take away your choices is now the enemy. We ought to be able to eat hamburgers and drink Diet Cokes and not have vaccines if we don't want it. Those people trying to control, they need to be identified, exposed, and gotten rid of, or we need to change their minds. There are about 500 or 600 people trying to control 3.2 million people. It needs to stop. And it can't stop unless there is something in the background that takes the place of supplements, complements, ordinary or conventional medicine. We've put this together as an alternative that you can use. We've been offered millions of dollars for this. We have refused. This belongs to the people, and we are trying to put it together in some kind of protocol that each of you can learn and use for yourself and your family and your community. We love it when you join us, or even when you comment about what's going on. Thank you for being here.
It's Robert. I can't find the Krebs cyclograph. How do I find it?
Robert, go up to the place. I can't back out of here. I'll go this way. Where
Is it on Sound Health Options or is it on the portal? How do you find it?
it's the portal. Hold on a second till I get back there. There's no back out here. We have to go to evaluations. Go to the little computer where you make your reports, and it's the second one down.
But if I just go to the if I go to the portal website and I put in search, I can't call it up, so I don't know how to find it.
Well, in my case, I have my subscription, but you can go to Yasko Map, YASKO. It's all over the internet.
Okay, I can find it that way, but I wanted to find yours, and you can't do it without a subscription. Agreed?
Agreed.
Okay, thank you. I'll get off the horn here.
That's okay. You're a faithful listener. We love it.
You're welcome, Sherry. We ought to call you Sherlock.
Because
or the computer that you're working with, Sherlock. One or the other. Yeah, that was brilliant what you did today.
Great. If I put this link out, can you guys share it with other people? Because everybody should know this. And it's all in the numbers.
Oh, yes, I understand exactly how this works. I was going to say right from the beginning. The very first thing you put up said, okay, I got something hidden here, and it's not really restless leg. The restless leg is pointing to the infection.
Yes.
And it took you a half hour to get there, but the machine knew that something was hidden.
Yes.
Yeah. Smart machine. Nice dog.
This is our online public sound health workstation, and we created it for the world. It'll even translate to your own language for you.
I'll tell you this, if Q ever gets back online on 8chan, I've been trying to pump that stuff into the anons so that they can tell who's lying when they're lying. And if the anons get onto this and Q gets onto it, it'll blow up big time.
Well, let's welcome them all into the portal so we can all have dominion over our own lives, because our representatives certainly don't deserve to be in control.
You got that right. Sovereignty to the people.
We're doing a whole series on the news broadcasters and who's telling the truth and who's being paid and all that. So that will be coming out on Speak Up. And so
I think that should be a whole tab in everything, all by itself, and make sure that the Vimeo links are there, because the more people know what this machine can do that way in terms of the psychometric profile, the headspace of people, then that's what people want to know. That'll get their attention, and then they'll find out what it can do for health.
Well, I think that one's next Monday. We'll put it out on our Facebook, or there's a schedule on soundhealthoptions.com. So we'll put those schedules out. We're scheduled for Richard Hoagland the third time now for this coming Sunday.
The sweeper tried to, yeah. I should mention to you that when I communicate to people, emails or stuff, I start off by telling them that you have been contracted by the U.S. military to make sure soldiers in the field, special op guys that get into health issues, can get immediate help.
Well, somebody else took that
over.
over.
And you mentioned that you've been contracted for other things that you kind of can't talk about, but that's in relationship with being able to identify who's lying and who's not. And that catches people's attention.
Yeah, we just got a question here from you, EU, about 5G. We had an article in Nexus last month or the month before about 5G and how it affects you, and it deals with iron and leukemia. So
yeah.
All of our information, just put in Robert O'Leary, 5G.
Okay, Robert O'Leary. Thank you.
Adonia says, oh my God, I was waiting for that, and Jordan Maxwell was on the radio and not Sherry on the Hoagland show. When it's on Sunday, and that was a rerun. I think they've been canceling it twice now for electrical outages. Actually, the last 7 shows of ours have been messed with and dropped. So we're messing up somebody's toes. But we've got the earth covered now. One of the things we had to set on for a long time was this 100 monkey effect, that we were really afraid the FDA was going to come in and do some issues with us, or National Institute of Health or something. So we went on the road. I went on the road, and we got this 100th monkey idea, that if I was on the road and somebody came and told me about me, then we would know we had enough people covered, that we could take this to the people. So two things happened. One, I was in a studio in Georgia, and the camera guy said, "You know, there's a lady in Ohio that does this. I didn't know anybody else would in the world would do this." And I said, "Well, what's her name?" He said, "I can't remember." But it was me, because that's where I'm from, and I did a lot of shows and classes here, especially in the film department. The other one was an awesome, awesome experience. I was at a Sufi conference, and they were out in the field dancing. And they had all these kids on this blanket, and they were just getting eat up by bugs. So I took the kids to the house, really nice house. We were out on this patio that has stone. Somebody has their mic open. Could you check and turn it off?
Oh, that's me. I'm sorry.
We were out on this patio that was rock and had all these layback chairs and whatever. And I was teaching the kids to do their own sounds, and I was singing to them and blah, blah, blah. Just getting dark, and this guy comes out these double doors from this really nice house, and it was lit from the back. I couldn't see his face. And he came over and sat down beside me, and he said that he had been traveling with a woman that did sound healing, and that she did everybody's sounds, and they got well, and she's writing a book, and she's teaching classes, and he knew her, and did I want an introduction? And I said, "Oh, yes, that sounds fascinating. What's her name?" And he said, "Sherry Edwards." I was like so relieved. I was like, "Thank you, God. Now I can go home to my own family." I'd been out for like 8 years on the road doing this. And there were some tough times. I never told that guy who I was, but someday he'll read or hear about himself and how he allowed me to go home. He said he knew me, Anita. He said he traveled with me. I'd never seen him before. Maybe he was a spiritual angel that told me it's time to go home. But that's the point when we started teaching our first classes to the public and letting people know that this was available. And that was years ago. I look back at what we did and I think, oh my God, how did we ever do anything? I knew nothing. I was totally flying blind. It was guiding itself. I didn't have much to do with it. I was kind of following along. But I think this idea that we've just brought out that deals with James Oates, that he did a study with his students. He's from Brown. He's a theoretical physicist. It's one of my favorite stories in the articles on our site. They found out with doing studies about plant DNA that the plants had a binary code in it, and that it was a correction code for computers. And he theorized that we are a simulation and that plants are here to make corrections in what we do wrong or whatever. Well, I'd like to take it a step further and say that in the work that we've done, where we can look at the human body as a collection of math, and by math see what's going on, and by math help fix it, that man is also a simulation. And that once that comes out to the public and gets spread around, our maker is going to show themselves. Now look at how many things have come up just very recently with UFOs and what's going on and the lights they're finding on the other side of the moon. I think it's incredible what's going on. And if a UFO landed out here, I would certainly go, because I feel like that's home. We have done a 3-part series for people, and I'm going to put them up in the chat so that and it won't go. Wouldn't you know it?
Sherry, I wanted to mention we listened to you when you were in the conference out west on sound.
The summit, yes.
Yes.
No, you were the best.
You were the best one. You were really the only one there that really had any substance. And when you got to the very end of the interview and you talked to the interviewer about being able to deal with cancer, I could tell, we could tell, he was stunned. And I think that traveled a long ways with the viewership that were probably listening to you. So I wanted to let you know that you nailed it, stunned everybody right at the end. And I thought that was so clever. So congratulations.
Thank you. We should put up the link for that. I don't have it, but we'll send it out to the people who are here, or post it somewhere so people can get to it. I haven't listened to it, but thank you. And I just did something stupid. I put all these links in the chat and it didn't show up. So I put them in again. They didn't show up. I put them in again. So I don't know if they're in your chat, but they won't come up on mine. But that's very wonderful to know. One of the people in that summit had a conference, and they disinvited me. You can probably guess who this is. They disinvited me because they said I had no vocal talent. I probably have one of the most unusual talents vocally in the world. And
you know you're winning when you've got enemies.
Did that stuff come through? Did those links come through for you guys?
I haven't seen them.
Okay, well, I will at least give everybody here information after this, because I can't put only a couple per post. George says, okay. Well, I'll just send it to everybody because we have your address. And I certainly appreciate your being here and love the comments that help support sharing all that this is. I think I can't explain it. Sylvia Frank said that Sherry Edwards is a modern keeper of the Holy Grail information that causes us to know who we are and who our Maker is. That's not been revealed to me yet, but if it ever is, I'll certainly share it. It answered so many questions when she wrote that, because I didn't know her. It's in her book, Keys of Life in the Holy Grail. I can't remember the title. I really thought I was schizophrenic, and there's two different dimensions, and I thought I was in between them somehow, because I knew things I wasn't supposed to know, that I never learned, that were well beyond my education, and I just kept going blindly until Sylvia Frank, Franke, wrote that, and then I kind of settled down into a foundation and was able to share this more freely without being so scared. So I'm going to end it there. This is a good conversation after class.
Sherry, I wanted to ask you about the testing that was done on your ear, the sound that your ear puts out. It's a healing sound that your ear, your mind puts out. And I'm wondering, how can your portal somehow capture what your body is putting out through the ear? I can't remember. You called it Oto something or other.
BioAcoustic emission. They have microphones now.
And if you can do that and figure out how the body is trying to send itself the sound to heal itself, I think you may discover that, well, you wouldn't know this, we know this here. There have been contracts put on people by the illusion itself to torment people, and endings are being put to that. So it is possible that the body's effort to put out that auto acoustic sound within the ear is designed to heal the body.
I think you are absolutely right. And Kaj Nagy has created a way to find out what that is. And she's going to come and do a presentation for us.
Your machine, your Sherlock machine, has the capability to work with that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you take the voice that people have and the auto and put them together, it will identify the tones and build its own music for that specific individual.
Yes.
Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely. And Kaj...
You shall do it.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
Agreed.
Yes, and Doreen Davis wrote about it, and she has 5 or 6 books that include bioacoustic. She wrote about the mechanical mechanism of it, and then Kaj just talked to me last week, so you're right on, about...
Just so you know, there has been something in the way preventing that, and that is being dealt with.
Great.
And you'll notice the change. You'll see it when it shows up for you. You'll probably hear it when others can't.
Well, Kaj is going to teach everybody to find their own and to do self-healing. So
Yes.
I'm looking forward. She says the end of October she'll be ready to share it.
How does my voice sound to you today?
Hollow in the back of your throat, like you did have a sinus infection, and now some things are cleared.
A lot of good stuff is happening. Agreed.
It's been wonderful, guys. Go ahead and grab the chat, and I think our next thing that we're going to be doing is cholesterol and statins. I will send the links to all of you so you can choose what you want to see, deal with, and please let us know if you want to take these advanced courses. We have a marketing plan ready to help you set up a center. Thank you for being here. I'll send the link to this, and I would love it if you would pass it on to everybody you know. The math of the body can reveal the secrets of our who we are, where we came from, and where we can go.